So what actually is the Bitcoin halving? Why have I heard so much about it over the last 3 to 5 months, right? I'm sure you have a lot of questions about what the Bitcoin halving or halving actually is. So I'm going to help you explain that today. We're going to go down to the basics. I'll teach you a little bit about the Bitcoin halving, why it is there, why it's important, and what happens when a halving has taken place. So without further ado, let's get into the video, guys. It would help me out a lot if you liked and subscribed to the channel. If you feel like I'm providing you with any value, and please definitely hop into the comments section. I like to have communication with you guys and conversations, so let me know what kind of videos you might want to see if you have any questions about this video. But this is Hyper Bitcoinization. My name is Spike. What is the Bitcoin halving? Well, the halving is something that is written from Satoshi Nakamoto in the code of Bitcoin that happens every 210,000 blocks, right? There's a blockchain that is the underlying system that runs the Bitcoin network. When each of those blocks, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, when you get to 210,000, that is called a halving moment. That is the Bitcoin halving. And what this halving does is it's approximately every 4 years, and it's not based off of a year count. It's not always on the same day or the same month of every year, but it's approximately every 4 years. It's however long it takes for the Bitcoin blockchain to add another 210,000 blocks to the chain. And this will be Bitcoin's 4th halving that it has ever happened, and there are many more to come into the future. So let me show you guys a little something before we continue on with that. Just to give you a little bit more background, provide you with some more context, I'm going to throw some stuff from my computer on right now, and let's get into some of this. So as you can see, Bitcoin halving countdown is only 58 days away, and all of this, by the way, is a guess, right? So at that point, when this next 2024 halving takes place, they expect it's probably going to be April 20th. Now this says the 25th. The event block height will be 840,000 blocks. We're currently at 832,199 blocks. So this is a cool little countdown. There is another website that I like to use that a pleb made. Pleb, just Bitcoiner. It's called timechaincalendar.com, and it provides you with a little bit of that information that was there in that last website that I showed you. I just Googled Bitcoin countdown for that. But this does the same thing. So it tells you what block we are currently at. It also tells you how many blocks are remaining until the next halving event. So there's only 7,800 blocks left, which is approximately, the 55 days. And today's price of Bitcoin, $54,793. We had quite the pump today. We started off at 51, so $3,000 pump, nothing to complain about. This is really cool. Sats per US dollar, 1,825 sats to equal $1. But it tells you everything about the difficulty. The average block time, 10 minutes and 15 seconds right now. And it's got awesome stuff. So there's also scrub blocks. If you want to, you can go check out any block that happened in the past, which is kind of cool to see what date it was, when it happened, all kinds of that stuff. So it's funny, you can go to your birthday or Christmas, whatever, and see what block was that on this day. So that's pretty cool, right? And then now we'll pop back just for a little bit and kind of go over some more of the basics. So every halving cycle, what happens is that the Bitcoin minting process, the reward for the miners, it's It's all the same thing, right? There are miners validating the network. They're making sure that transactions are legit. Their nodes are all talking to each other around with all kinds of other people that do it around the world. Hundreds of thousands of nodes communicating at one time, what block is happening, and securing the rest of the network, everything that's happened in the past. When a miner, and let's just call it one for this example, because sometimes there are multiple winners, sometimes it's a pool and they divide it, there is always a reward for the miner that was able to add that block. Currently, that reward is 12.5. Wow, wait a minute. No, that is wrong. I was in the previous halving. So the current halving is 6.25 Bitcoin that the miner will receive for validating the transactions, for securing the network, for creating that block. When the halving comes, that reward is cut in half. So when Bitcoin was first created in 2009, the reward for the block was 50 Bitcoin. And that is how Satoshi accumulated about 1 million Bitcoin worth, is because of those halvings. He was for a long time one of the only, or one of the very few miners, because he had to secure the network until it was able to take off, right? You're not going to get that 4-year span at the beginning of the network. Bam, another block just happened. It popped up. I'll show you that. But you're not going to get that first 4 years from 2009. So 10, 11, 12, you got 3 years on the next one. So it went from 50 to 25. In 2016, it went to 12.5. And then it went to 6.25. That is where we're at now. And then it will go to 3.12. And so I'm going to pull up another chart right now. That way you guys have another visual idea of what is going on here. And then we'll get into a little bit more about the why. Okay, so looking at this chart right now, you can see every single halving that has happened, or every single halving that is going to happen in the future, and what is correlated with that. And that is one of the coolest things about Bitcoin, and this is something I touch on often, is everybody who plays the game knows the game rules. This is just something that is programmed into the Bitcoin software, and it just happens. It doesn't catch anybody by surprise. It's not like a weird thing, and it's something to understand. It's predictable, and you know it is going to happen every 210,000 blocks. Okay, just as much as the difficulty adjustment, which is every 2016 blocks. So what that does, because that of course always has something to do with the halving. You remember how this was average block time 10 minutes and 15 seconds. Well, let's just say that average block time gets to 15 minutes. Satoshi wanted the average block time to be 10 minutes. So if it gets to 15, after 2016 blocks, the network is going to realize blocks are being minted a little bit faster than they should. So it will increase the difficulty level, pushing it back down to 10. And the same thing happens on the reverse. Let's just say blocks are getting created every 8 minutes. Okay, well, compared to Satoshi's 10, what he wanted, 8's too fast. So we're going to make the difficulty adjustment higher. And I think I said higher on the other one. If the difficulty, if it's longer than 10 minutes, it's going to make the difficulty lower. If it is lower than 10 minutes, it wants to make the difficulty higher. So when you get to this Bitcoin halving chart, we are in the 1, 2, 3. This will be the 4th halving that we have coming up. And look at every other halving that is going to happen. So the very last amount of Bitcoin will not be fully minted and rewarded until 2140, right? More than 100 years from now. So anybody who's into Bitcoin and they're accumulating Bitcoin right now, a big majority of that is because they're not doing it for themselves. It is a generational wealth building opportunity, right? So they're looking for that 2140 mark. That's grandkids, that's great grandkids. But you can see what block number it will be at every single one of those years and what the reward is every single one of these years. This is the next coolest thing that I like to tell people. A lot of times when people get into Bitcoin, they feel like they have to buy a full coin. And a lot of folks don't even know that you don't have to buy a full coin. And so I tell people, hey, whatever it is, just throw 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever you can, dollars in every single week. Dollar cost average that. Just buy it and forget about it. And they're always like, oh, well, it looks so small. Like it's like not very inviting, right? It's not cool to have 0.000 something of a Bitcoin. But let's see, we know 1 million Satoshis about right now is costing about $500 to $600. So that's 2056. If we look at the 2056 and the block reward, it is 1,200,000 Satoshis. A lot of people right now buying $600 worth of Bitcoin don't think that that's a lot of Bitcoin. Bitcoiners will tell you, first off, 1 million Satoshis is a lot of Bitcoin, all right? And even though it's $600 now, what about in 2056? I promise you, in 2056, which is more than 30 years from now, people are going to be paying a hell of a lot more than $600 for 1 million Satoshis, right? And you can go all the way down the scale. Let's just say that you only have 1,192 sats, which is less than $1, I think, right? Because it's 1,800 sats for $1. We talked about that earlier. So this is less than 1,800 sats. For less than $1 in 2096, that is going to be somebody's, whatever miner wins, that is going to be their reward that they get paid. So what's the purpose of it? Why does it happen? Well, the purpose of the halving is to ensure that one, the 21 million cap stays relevant, that it hits, and you never go past the 21 million cap. The next reason is because we all have seen what inflation has done to the economy over the last few years since COVID. Bitcoin is a deflationary currency. The way that they make it deflationary, instead of the US government or any other fiat currency, is by having no cap and printing as much as they want whenever. That inflates the currency. So if you actually cut the supply that is being rewarded in half every 4 years, what it does is it helps make it a deflationary currency, which is exactly what we want. So you tie all that together with supply and demand, not a ton of supply on exchanges. The supply over time is not going to be a lot because most of the Bitcoin that exists already exists. 6 million of it is lost forever or sent to the wrong address, whatever you want to call it. The rest of it is what the entire world is going to be fighting for over at minimum till 2140. But this is going to continue for hundreds, possibly thousands of years if at least humans are still on the planet. 500 to 1,000 years from now, right? So what that does is create that effect, right? Price has to go up. If there's less on the market to buy, and every single 4 years there's less every cycle, Bitcoin gets more expensive. Price goes up. So if you bought into Bitcoin recently and you're hoping for that bigger price, you could thank the halvings for giving you that scarcity part of Bitcoin, that part that equals 21 million. All of that is bulked up due to the halving. And when you think about it, as big as it is, it's crazy that Satoshi thought about every single thing that he had thought about with he thought about everything, right? He literally mapped it all out. So that is a simple way of explaining it to you guys, and I'm hoping that this picture stays with you. This is something I show people all the time. So other than that, let's finish off just real quick. Okay, and it's still pumping. It is not stopping for the day. So, we were we were consolidating for a while from February 14th So Valentine's Day until the 24th, we pretty much consolidated from 50,000 to 52,500, and we floated around in there. We created ourselves a nice little bull flag from the bottom. So that's a bull flag there, and literally today, wow, and it's sitting at 55.4 right now, and that is brand new, because when I just started recording this video, we were down here at this red bar here. So Bitcoin's on a move right now. There's a lot of demand for it, right? There's not a lot of supply. And this is the first time that we've had this significant amount of a pump, an increase before a halving. Typically that takes about 6 months after a halving. So if this is what's going on before the halving, and we have the ETFs, and it's not boring anymore, so people are looking back at their Bitcoin that they bought maybe 2 years ago, maybe they're seeing it again on social media, whatever it might be, we're back in action, okay? And if this is how it's acting before the halving, we're in some uncharted territory for afterwards. So hey, right now we're sitting at $55,400. I think that's awesome. It's been a great day. If you guys have any questions about the halving, any of that stuff we talked about, or you just want to talk, have a little chat, I'd love to. I'm even open to podcast if that's what you guys want to do, but I'm not going to sit here and do TA with you today. I'll save that for another video. This one was a little lengthy. Just wanted to give all the basics and show exactly what the halving is and why it's important. So again, if I provided you any value, hit that thumbs up for me. Also hit subscribe. Coming out with a lot more content later. And hey, Hyper Bitcoinization here. My name is Spike. We will see you later. Peace out.